sorry ass DJ.
You can get some.
It's Thursday. It's 8 o'clock, and it's the Big Detecting Show. Hello.
Hello, dear. Good evening. You all right? Good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
Yeah.
What were you reading?
The latest, not out yet, but it will be out very shortly. The latest edition of Treasure Hunting magazine. Lovely cover. Yes, I'm on YouTube. Sorry, it's my wedding anniversary tonight, and all the family have been out, and I'm at home, and they've just come back drunk. So
they've all come home celebrating your wedding anniversary that you're not there for.
I was briefly, and then I decided to come on the show.
Quality.
It's my second one, aren't you, Dave? You're my second one. So, well, yeah. So
I'm not the wife, mate. I'm not the wife.
No.
James is your second wife.
He's more like a son, but with benefits. I shouldn't really say that, should
I? No.
But yeah, it's been scorchio this week.
On it?
Yeah, absolutely hot. And I went on the beach, detecting me on the beach on last Friday, which was very interesting. Some interesting characters come up to me with the Mine Lab Exterior Elite, and I actually went out yesterday, hottest day of the year, for a few hours, and flipping it was hot. And I gave up because I was on private land near a forest, probably 10-15 minutes walk from the nearest road, and a man come up to me in tight shorts and a muscle vest and said, "What are you doing?" I told him, "Have you found much?" Usual thing. I went, "Yeah," and he stood watching me for 10 minutes. So I decided then it was time to come home because something could have happened to me.
Yes, especially without any. No, I won't go there.
No, well, James wasn't with me, and he's got a yellow belt in Kung Fu. So, but yes, you've been out. You went out, dear, didn't you?
I went out for about 3 hours last Saturday with the boy.
Oh dear.
I'm desperate to go out. Yeah, all right, mate. So we go into the orchard, and we're doing the orchard, and I turn around thinking, who's a bit quiet? And there he is. He's found one of them trees that are like that. He's like that on it. What he's found?
I wonder who he takes after.
So I went, "What are you doing?" He said, it's warm, Dad. I'm just having a rest. Like, yeah, all right.
Was he on his phone?
Yeah. And then we went into there. I thought to myself, I'll get him into a field so he's away from all that claptrappery. Oh, and obviously, I text you because there just so happened to be a badger there, exactly the same as your badger, with the same name as your badger.
Yeah. Did you, was it good? Did it follow you when you
Mate,
did?
It came everywhere with us. And it carried the same stick for 3 hours. So you're digging your hole, getting his stick off it, throwing its stick, bobbing after it, bringing it back, waiting patiently till you've faffed about in your hole. And I found my first ever lead pencil.
I've never found one.
I did. And I found a very, very thinnest I've ever found, a spindle wheel, plus lots of, I would be getting Tony Gaylor, you're Gaylor, Tony Gaywood.
He's dead. That's my dad. He's dead. Tony, yeah. I found a lot of buttons last couple of weeks ago. I probably found about 12, 14 buttons. But I did find a nice one, which I think might be a brooch because it's quite big, but you never know. But yes, a lot of people in the chat tonight. Jim Pantin, the man in the woods, was waiting for Adrian.
Painting, get it right.
Jim, totally inappropriate. Hello, Stephen Brame. Hope you're okay. Hope Pomsey. Nice. I'll probably catch up with you this year at a rally. And Derek Gibbon. Why is the emails banging off? There's people emails. Quit that.
Not me.
Donna Martin. Now, Lady
Martin.
Lady Donna Martin. She won our prize at Christmas, and she won a McGrafter. And due to how can I put it?
Ineptitude.
Strikes. COVID, everything. It was delayed, and she received it last week, and she's had a wonderful time with the McGrafter. And she emailed me and said she'd like to thank Paul at McGrafter's for donating it to the Big Detecting Show. So, Paul, if you're watching or watching back, thank you very much. And she went out and she'd had a dry spell for quite a while, and she found 2 hammers, which is the lucky McGrafter. So well done, Donna. And thank you for emailing us, thanking us for the prize, because we don't often get that, do we, Dave?
No, thank you very much. And talking of prizes, some people who do send their prizes that they've donated to the Big Detecting Show on time, and not like some other people currently in the room, are tonight's guests. It's the lovely Marcus and Sebastian from Regton. Good evening, gents.
Good evening. Thanks for that.
Trustworthy gents. Trustworthy.
How you doing?
Ready for bed? How are you?
Still hot. Still too hot. It's cooling down, but still hot.
It is a bit, isn't it? Whereabouts in? I know you obviously the stores in Birmingham. What suburb of Birmingham do you live?
Out of Birmingham. So we both live in the same town, just north of Birmingham, Tamworth.
All right.
Area. So about 20 minute journey into work.
Yeah, basically, 20. Yeah, about 20-30 minutes. Really,
if you time it right.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not yesterday.
Rush hour and all that.
Lorry 5 closed in 42.
Oh, good lord.
No, it's nice though because you can wind down after work, thinking of all the issues you had in the day whilst driving home. You can wind down. No, Marcus doesn't. No. Marcus, those who are watching, whether they're new to detecting or
I've lived under a rock.
Detecting. Because I've got a story about new people detecting. I'll tell you in a minute. But tell us a bit about Regton, because they're a very established company. Just tell the viewers about them.
Okay, so we're now the oldest detecting company in the UK. 43 years. 43 years. 1981 was when it became a limited company. My father was selling he was using metal detectors in 1968. He started his own company in and around 1970. That was Treasure Hunting Specialists. That ran for about 10 years. And then he went back into his core business of making tin cans, which was a family business at the time. The metal detecting was just a hobby, really. And my brother was coming out of school, and he'd been detecting with my father for a number of years, like I had. My earliest recollection is from when I was 7, and I'm 59 this year.
No way.
No.
I know, he's still got black hair as well.
I know, it's not even out of a bowl, that.
It's still a full head of hair. Still, most of it's the same colour. It's starting to go this colour though, from here up. But brother started Regton. My father was a tool maker. He came up with the idea of the S-shaped handle for metal detectors, patented it, took it to different manufacturers around the world. They weren't interested in it. The patent ran out, and then Fisher started with the S-shaped stem. But we were making those in the building that we're in at the moment. Where the shop is now was actually the main place for us for making those. We had pillar drawers in there and hand presses. We made those for C-scope because they took up the part patent. We were making those and handle assemblies, because all machines in the old days, you literally held it by the handle, or it was the shepherd's crook type handle. But Dad made an attachment so it supported your forearm, even if you were gripping the handle, for a number of detectors. So my brother and my father were making those. My brother invested in a vac forming machine. We started making coil covers when manufacturers weren't even making coil covers for their machines. Again, because of my father's ability as a tool maker, we started making spades. So Blackadder's dagger trowel is based on our tooling that Dad came up with. In fact, when we stopped making trowels because we needed more time for other things, I think the tooling was actually passed over to Archie Blackadder, which he's then developed, and him and Matt have developed, far better since. But we're making those.
Pretty sure we've still got the original one at work.
We've got one original hand trowel at work.
Wow.
And then Regton just started growing from there.
So when did the name Regton come into force?
1981, when Nigel registered the company as a limited company, and in those days you could buy a company ready formed from a book. So you literally went, well, Regton, I'll use that name, and that was a limited company was set up straight away. You can't do it these days like that, but
No,
you could then.
But yeah,
thank you.
There's no Reg or Tony.
No, exactly that. It's what we get asked all the time is where's Reggie, where's Tony? There's no one at work that's
Apart from little statues. Apart from little statues, because you do have Reggie and Tony.
Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah, find out the little nut bolts and stuff like that. Yeah. But
Well,
and for those of you who've never been along to the Regtons shop in Birmingham, it's well worth going because you've got a number of bits and bobs in there that, obviously there's all the modern metal detectors, the range of XP, Garrett's, other machines, books, digging tools, everything that you can need apparel-wise for the metal detectorist. But you've also got some old things akin to the first trowel and what have you. You've got a lot of originals in there as well.
Well, we have, in fact, going back to the S-shaped stem, C-Scope have just overhauled this year my father's, what is it, CS, I think it's a 6000D or something like that, which has the S-shaped stem on his original detector. So that's now back up and working. That's in the shop. Don't ask me how to use it. I was too young to use those machines. I'd have to sit there and play about for a while to get that working. Brother can get it working, but I'd need a little bit more time.
What lovely story, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah, it's
nice.
It is.
I think with so many companies nowadays online, just setting up and selling stuff, you've got some proper history and background behind there. It's lovely, nice story. The on the like Shepherd's crook style, the hand grips. Did your dad used to use bike hand grips? Because they're very much like what I remember in the 70s and 80s.
No, it wasn't. On the S-shaped stem, it was actually, it wasn't a bike handle. It was more like a wheelbarrow handle because it was one-sided, so your fingers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Whereas on the spades that we did, no, they were bike handles.
Yeah, brilliant. Love it.
Daggers, etc. Going back to the C-Scope machine that they overhauled, they had to go into the coil to do a bit of tuning on the coil. And they didn't have any stickers for the coil, but we do. We have. That was the last one of that particular one, but I put a post up. I think it was about 2 years ago, where I just set out all the different coil stickers that we had from C-Scope, and we had a good amount of comments on that. Oh, I used to have one of those. I used to have one of those. But we've still got the originals, still with their sticky backs on. Should we ever need them again?
I'm sure retro detectors, people will be restoring machines like they do cars in the next few years. I'm sure it will be a case.
We'll wait for the prices to go up then.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You think though, if you wanted to buy like a Ford Capri 1978 badge, it's going to cost you like, I don't know, probably 50 quid, 100 quid, because people want to. Yeah, I don't know if you saw it on the show. A couple of weeks ago, a month ago, I bought a C-Scope Treasure Hunter Mark II. I bought it and it was brand new, boxed, unopened, Dave, wasn't it? And I opened it on the show, and I took that out detecting about a month ago, and I found stuff with it.
That's the thin one, isn't it, with two controls?
Yeah, and it was so light. It was probably the weight of, what did it take? 1 pp9, I think, or 2 pp9.
One pp.
Yeah, and it was so light and enjoyable. And that handle, it just brought me back, like when I was younger, my dad's detectors were like that. And I just thought it is actually I only detected for probably 3 or 4 hours with it, but it was actually not too bad. I didn't have any back problems or anything. Whereas, obviously, if you had a heavier machine, it probably would be. But yeah, I think retro detectors will start coming back. I really do.
When you said that took you back, was that to about 1980, 1979?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, it's how old? I'm 52. So for me, my granddad got a Garrett from America because my uncle was in the Air Force out there, in the RAF out there. So he said, "Oh, Dad," to my granddad, "all these people are buying these metal detectors." So he brought a very early Garrett. My granddad went out detecting, and I went out with my granddad. And then my dad bought a C-scope, like everyone did in the 70s, late 70s. That was, I think it was about 78. It still had the metal detecting radio license application form, which was like £1.50 or something. So yeah, really interesting. Yeah,
Them nice chaps from C-scope kidnapped my C-scope 700 series off me and took the 6-volt battery away and put mod batteries, connected it for me, which was nice. So that's mega light now. So, how long have you been involved in the business itself and metal detecting?
Me? No. So I started probably when I was about 9 or 10 with his dad, my granddad, Derek. It was in Anglesey where, we used to go away a lot on holiday to North Wales. So it was basically, you got a machine out the boot of the car and you went, right, go detecting. And my granddad was a little bit strict in terms of in terms of basically like kids playing. So he was like, you can't run, you can't do this, you can't do that. So he said, right, you can go detecting instead. I was like, right, okay. So we went detecting on this beach. Within about 5-10 minutes, I basically found a ring, and he was like, "Oh, come on, you can't keep going. This is gold ring, brilliant. Well done, keep going." And I was like, "No, I want to go and play football. I've completed it. I've completed detecting. I'm back in the boot." And then I went to go and play football. And I was actually telling that story to a customer probably about 2 years ago, and then Marcus actually stood behind me and he actually said, I'm sorry to be a Debbie Downer, but it was actually a mood ring. It was just basically trying to keep you. It was just trying to keep you.
It's a brass-coloured mood ring, so when you change the temperature, it changed colour as well. But he thought it was gold, so I let him.
And I thought the customer was going to say, "That was my ring."
Yeah. Or would you like to see my ring?
I don't know about you and your first recollections of metal detecting, but mine, again, I was 7 years old. Dad was detecting in a woodland, which is where we used to detect a lot. And he gave me his C-scope. I wanted to go and play on the swings. And I detected for 5-10 minutes, ran back to him, gave him the detector, gave him a handful of things that I found and ran off. And in his hand was a 2p, a 50p, 1972, so had just been lost, and a gold ring. So I found a gold ring. He found a mood ring. Roll forwards to the end of COVID, and I've got 4 sons, and Seb, my third son, Jacob, and Matthew, my youngest, went out with Nigel detecting. Nigel was teaching the 2 younger ones how to use machines, and Matthew, my youngest, walks off into the field, gets a signal. He's actually got the right gait for detecting. He was 7 years old. He just got the right swing. He looks the part, gets a signal, starts digging a hole, and pulls a small silver ear stud. So I've got pictures of him beaming away with his first find.
Yeah, it's funny because going back to what Seb was saying, my granddad was very strict. We'd have Sunday dinner, and granddad, you had to let him have a sleep. So he'd have a newspaper over his face.
Just like me now.
My granddad used to wear a 3-piece suit on Sundays, and you weren't allowed to run. You had to be quiet, and you weren't allowed on the lawn out the front of the house because that was just to look nice. And he took me out, and I remember it. We walked back of his house. He had a field, and we had a ditch with a plank, and we walked over it. And he said, "Come with me." And we went out there with this. I think it might have been the Garrett machine that he probably got in the early. It was very, very early machine, 60s. I think it was green. I don't know why. I don't know. It was very old, and we went out, and the problem is, well, not the problem, but then there was so much stuff on the surface. It was unbelievable. And I remember my granddad, do you remember the bank money bags, the clear plastic ones? And they used to have like paper ones and that. We filled one of those up with Roman coins. And he was going like, yeah, that's 2,000 years old, that one. And I'm like, oh. And then I just ran back and probably got a football out, or probably an air rifle, because it was the 70s. But yeah, it's weird. And then I remember when my dad got a machine, and all I remember, I don't know why, is it in the shed covered in dust and paint. I don't know why, because he did go out, but it's one of those things. I think it was a big thing, wasn't it, in the sort of late 70s?
Yeah, but Adrian, I've seen where you keep your metal detectors.
Are you? Did I show you? Well, I showed you one of.
Do you remember last week when we done the pre-thingy? Did you give me a tour of the house and gardens of your estate?
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't show you my estate, house and estate. Yeah, yeah. I know. I think I showed you where I've got 4. They're low value ones there, but yeah. If I had the money, I would have a room in my house built with just detectors all on the wall. My wife would love it. I know she would. She'd absolutely love it.
And she'd love it the way that you give people a tour of the place and talk about it as well.
She was ironing. But yes, Rob Random, does Seb find that the ladies love a good detecting story when he's out and about? That's very interesting, actually, Rob. And I haven't contacted you, Rob, and I will tonight, I promise, because he's asked me to contact him. Seb, you're quite young, trendy. Do you, in a nightclub, go, I actually go metal detecting? Or what do your friends think of it?
Well, to be fair, like, you know, when I'm in when I used to go nightclubbing or clubbing, whatever you call it, I learned, and I was like, yeah, do you know, metal detect, and then that's how I actually met my missus. So, but nah, no, it's not. A lot of my friends are interested in the history side. In terms of people, I think, especially my mates, the idea of walking around a field doesn't necessarily appeal to them. But I think that'll probably just change with age. I like it just for, you know, like being out in the fresh air, which basically, to answer your initial question, was how I got back into detecting. Like my previous job was in IT, looking at screens, like literally from like 8 till 5, like 9 till 5. So especially after like coming out of lockdown, you know, having access to a detector or two proved actually quite handy, and actually being able to like get out of the house.
Question for Rob: would he leave?
Hi, Andy. Sorry,
would he leave the back line for chatting up a woman?
Yeah.
Actually, I rang Seb the other night, and Seb got the evil eyes because he was in the chicken aisle and shopping and got the evil eyes. So I had to sort of like make a shorter phone call, and maybe we would have liked. I don't know.
I got the wrong chicken. That's what it was, and I just got the evil stare from the end of the aisle. I thought, Dave, I've got to go now. Sorry.
It's funny because a lot of people I talk to, sort of, I've had lots of jobs over my life, and they sort of see now I do metal detecting pretty much all the time, and straight away the history comes in, then the detectorist TV, and then I've fancy taking it up. Do you ever find stuff? And then I show them my Instagram. And they're like, "Oh,
are you showing me shaft?"
No, depends what type of one. But Marcus, would you? There has been an increase. Would you say that has slowed down now, or is it since lockdown still going up?
Right.
I don't mean sales. I mean people phoning up like, "Oh, I want to buy a metal detector. Which one?"
I would say it's pretty constant and always has been. I think the press and other organisations around finding things, not necessarily metal detecting, portray metal detecting as something that has been a massive increase. I think if I look back over all the years that I've been involved with Regton and my brother selling metal detectors. It's a very cyclical thing, but it's also a very constant thing. There's a hardcore of metal detector users, and that doesn't really change that much. It's about, I would say it's about the same. If you start to look at adding the clubs up these days and the people that run metal detecting clubs, if you go back in time, everybody was a member of a club or maybe associated with another club. These days, they're going everywhere. They're members of how many Facebook groups, how many clubs. They go here, they go there. And the perception is there's a lot more of us than there actually is.
Yeah, I totally agree. And they're not all on Facebook. I mean, Treasure Hunting magazine since lockdown has gone mental with subscribers. It's shot up, and that's why I asked the question. And going back to what you're saying about as an industry selling metal detectors, you know, fortunately now, like with the Garrett Vortex, which is going to be, we'll get onto that in a minute. Years ago, you'd have a manufacturer say, we're launching a new machine, and it's not available for 2 or 3 months. So no one spends any money. They all hold back and wait. So you've got a buffer, a gap where no one's spending any money because they're waiting for the new machine. So the quicker they launch them, the better. And on that, the Vortex is going to be available soon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's due to be released from the factory sometime in July. I expect it to arrive in the UK probably end of July, beginning of August. The initial machine will be the VX9 from them. The other machines will follow on.
Oh, right. Okay.
And talking of which, before we go any further, for anybody wanting to know about the Vortex, here we are.
The Garrett Vortex includes a new straight shaft design. Fully extended, its length is nearly 57 inches. It collapses to 24 3/4 inches, and the search coil rotates for easy storage in your bag or pack. The Vortex is a series of 3 detectors, starting with the entry model, the VX5. The intermediate model is the VX7, and the upper-end Vortex is called VX9. These are 3 unique detectors, not just one detector offered at different price points with various coils and accessories. The Vortex detectors are fully waterproof, submersible to 16 feet. They are the perfect shallow water detectors, made for hunting in streams and lakes, and even along the beach or in the surf using the multi-salt mode. The Vortex is rechargeable via this USB-C port, offering approximately 15 hours of use per full charge. All controls and settings on the Vortex are very intuitive and easily controlled with one finger. There are several direct drive controls, ground balance, pinpoint, and mode selection. Other settings you desire to change are accessed through a quick press menu button. Press the menu button and then scroll up or down through the settings using either the menu button or pinpoint button. Select the icon of the setting you wish to change, then tap either the plus or minus buttons to adjust that setting. As you move up from VX5 to VX9, the number of search mode choices will increase. Several will be familiar to Garrett users, such as Zero Discrimination, US Coins mode, and the ability to create your own custom mode. Each Vortex also includes Standard mode. In Standard, the default frequency is multi. Reaction speed is set to the default speed, and Iron Discrimination is set to 30, eliminating many non-desired ferrous items from audible detection. Standard mode is perfect for finding most international coins, and for finding all types of jewelry and non-ferrous relics. The VX9 model includes 2 other new search modes. In Fast mode, your reaction speed has been increased. Fast mode is designed for use in trashy areas, such as old home sites, where abundant metallic trash might mask adjacent coins. Fast mode is also ideal for competition hunts, where you often move quickly while searching for prize tokens. By default, Fast mode operates with iron volume reduced, but not eliminated, as some prize tokens and competition hunts are made of composite metals with ferrous content. The VX9 model also includes a Thin Coins mode. In Thin Coins mode, the audio response has been suppressed but not eliminated for common ferrous targets, and for highly conductive targets. The response is enhanced to more sharply report on only targets falling within a select target ID range, such as thin-hammered silver coins, Roman coins, and small gold coins.
Wow.
In thin coins mode, the reaction speed is increased, as these fine coins are often found in areas scattered among metallic trash.
And I was shocked to see then that KG was holding Jesus with his dicky out. But that was just me having to look twice.
I think what I was more impressed with was that gold coin that Marcus found, and it was very, very small.
Very, very small indeed. As I said, I've been detecting since I was 7, so 52 years that I remember. I was using detectors before. My father brought me up on Nigel on Parkland and Woodland and beaches particularly. And I still love beaches and always have loved beaches, even though we couldn't get further away from the sea if we tried here in Birmingham. So I've never really had the opportunity to get onto land where I'm likely to find a gold coin. And I've never found a gold coin until I was invited to go and have a play and test over a number of days this machine with Garrett in the UK. And we were on a field that was quite large. They all headed off that way, and I headed off that way, especially down to an electric fence to go and have a little play away from the manufacturers to learn the machine myself. Started digging everything, all sorts of signals, seeing what the responses were, whether they were iron, whether they were not, how that complex, the two ranges of the discrimination work, whether you avoid digging it or whether you should dig that item or just walk away and carry on. And it was a learning curve, and using all my years of detecting, trying to find out what it was good at, where it fell over, if anywhere. It was a very limited use machine at the time, and I'd been detecting, found it absolutely fine. When I was digging iron that it should be iron, it was iron. When I decided that it wasn't iron, I was digging them as well, and sure enough, they were non-ferrous. It was doing exactly what it should do. One thing that I picked up pretty quickly was it was finding deep things. A lot of the holes that I was digging were probably about 3/4 of a probe depth. I've got other photos which I haven't put up on the net of other things that I found, which were fantastic. There were bits of copper, bronze, buttons, coins, etc. And then I thought, right, okay, I'll go over and see how they're getting on. And I just walked off in that direction, got a signal, turned the clod over, got the pinpoint probe out, opened up the clod, and from the angle I was looking at it, it looked like silver. I thought I found a hammered silver coin. Now, moved around the other way, and then it changed colour to gold. Took a photograph and called them over. And yeah, the first gold coin I've ever found in my life. And not a bad one to start with. Thrisma, it's 3/4 of the coin, unfortunately. It's not a full coin. Not that I'm worried about that. And yeah, was it 650 AD?
650. Yeah.
650 AD.
Saxon Thrisma.
Saxon Thrisma. And
very, very nice.
But the one thing I have to say, and as soon as I'd found it, I thought, oh God, I know what's going to happen here. And I get, because there were some comments that have been made, and I get it. You know, I'm the importer, I'm testing a new machine, and I find a gold coin. But anyone who knows me and has spoken to me over many, many years, I'm not the person to do that. First of all, where the hell would I get one from that wouldn't have been recorded anywhere? On the internet. You know, no, I get that. If it happened to other manufacturers, I'd probably be thinking the same thing. So I get that side of things. But no, it's my first gold coin ever.
Excellent.
I was just about to say that. I totally agree. If it was a gold sovereign, people might have questioned it. But to find something as rare as that, I'm very excited about this Garrett machine. It's got. I love the way you can upgrade the software. You start off with the basic model and just upgrade the hardware. It's all built in. I think it's the way to go, to be honest. Just pack the machine with the hardware that can make it as good as it can be, and you pay a bit like cars are now. You know, you get top of the range BMW. If you want heated seats or a heated steering wheel, you subscribe, and it's the way things are going. In regard to upgrading, so if I buy the low end Vortex and I want to upgrade it, so I how do I do that? Because it's a bit different in Europe and the UK to the States, isn't it?
No, not really. The operation will work the same. There's still some things to be sorted out about that. I was fortunate to be invited out to the launch of the Vortex last weekend, and Garrett had a distributor meeting there as well, which I was part of. And we were all having a good chat about this, as how certain things are going to work. The prices are fixed with regards to that. It's quite simple. The prices are out there on the machine. So if I've had to make notes because I can't remember all of them because it's still new. So if you take the Vortex VX5 at $476.95 and the 7 at $566.95, the difference is £90. That's the price of the upgrade. There's no difference between. So if you start off with the 5 and you move to the 7, you move to the 9, you pay. If you want to go from 5 to 7, well, it's an upgrade of £153. Exactly the difference in the price of the machine.
So how do you plug it in?
It will be a case that from your dealer, you will buy like a voucher, a code.
Like if you're a computer person, as Seb would know, you'd buy a stick code for Football Manager and download it.
So I mean, like it works. It works such as like buying a license for, let's say, Photoshop or something like that. You go to the website of the dealer or us, for example, and then you will then buy, let's say, the upgrade for the VX5 to the VX7. You'll pay the money. An email will be sent to you with the code. You then go to Garrett's website, redeem the code, and then plug in your machine, and then off you go. So it's
about a 3-minute update.
Yeah,
to upgrade the machine.
It'll be a pretty straightforward. Procedure. The only added thing that people will probably have to get their heads around is obviously just that initial purchase. It's exactly the same as updating any other machine on the market. You know, you go to the manufacturer website, and then you do the update from there.
I know it's early days, but I presume it will be browser based, so it won't matter whether you're on a Mac or PC.
At the moment, I believe it's only PC, but knowing Garrett, it will be both. The Apex, which only had 2 updates to it, they were very, very simple to do. And I don't expect this to be any different. Very, very simple, very easy process to update and very quick.
A question
I do think Mac, if it's not available now, it will be very shortly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they'll definitely be looking at it. I think browser is probably the better way to go. But if they've already got, let's say, the hardware behind it just for the PC, they'll probably just go with PC and then down the line look to upgrade to Mac. And then Mac.
Well, to be honest, I mean, who uses a Mac? There's only chavs.
Well, considering like 60% of the American population use Macs. So Garrett being an American company, I presume they'll push
Adrian,
it through.
stop trying to argue the point just because you're
I'm not. No, I'm not a cockney chap. I've used Macs for 30 years and PCs, and I'm on a Mac now. But companies push it. The problem is with Apple, it's a bit like the Apple Store apps. If you want to put something on Google Play Store, it's quite simple. Apple Store, it's a nightmare. So I can understand where Garrett are coming from. It's probably, whereas it takes you. So, all right. Anyway, also, someone asked me a question. If they buy a Vortex and they get it upgraded to the top machine,
yeah,
they then sell it on.
Yeah.
will that or if they buy the mid-range and they sell it on, I presume they can just upgrade it because they've got the machine.
Yeah.
Yes. So in theory, anyone should be able to do that. The only issue that may arise there is if it's not from the UK, because it will be recognising your serial number and the codes that you're putting in that you purchase and where you purchase those from. That's not one for us. We don't know whether there will be a restriction on there or not. But as far as anyone buying a machine secondhand and then wanting to do it within the UK, as long as that machine's within the UK, there should be no problem whatsoever.
I've got a dead good and
on the update software, I only saw a picture of the screen for literally about 30 seconds. In his case of, okay, that's the screen, that's how it's going to work. But we didn't get any detailed information about that because, there's still a way to go. And I imagine they're still doing some things with that.
Yeah, it's still early days. Yeah.
Adrian, do you want my dead good and pertinent question that I just thought of and you're going to be shocked?
No.
Okay. I'll do it anyway. Will the updates, obviously, for UK-based detectorists be UK sort of like friendly, or will they be general US type friendly?
One update.
See what I've done there, Adrian? See me good question.
No,
cheers, mate. Thanks for the, round of applause.
Releasing the access to that increased performance and features of the machine is one worldwide. Mm-hmm. So if you go from a 5 to a 7, there's no difference anywhere in the world.
I think especially on the VX9, the thin coins mode is effectively your more European / UK looking mode anyway. And to be fair, I'm quite interested to see how that actually plays out and how that works as well, especially with the 3-tiered graph as well, just to see how it basically works out.
That 3-tiered graph I'm surprised no one's come up with it before. I think their patent, it's got a pending patent, but I've been intrigued how it works. It's very simple.
It's interesting. As I said, I walked away once I explained the machine because I hadn't seen it until I literally went, here it is, and you're looking at it and you go, okay, it looks okay. What's going on with the three levels here? And then at first I didn't notice, and most people didn't notice that the top and the bottom read from 0 to 39, and it's the simple iron at the bottom and it's the complex iron at the top. So simple iron is, metal detectors have always been very good at getting rid of small iron objects. That's the simple iron. But there are other items that come in that can confuse the metal detector. But now we're actually seeing, right, okay, we've got good items. We've got those small iron. Now we've got those ones that we're not sure whether we want to dig or not. We can't quite tell. It's giving you that information of once you start to learn it, and it wasn't very long before we started to pick up amongst ourselves how it was working. Yes, it works quite well. Obviously, I've used it for a couple of days. I used it for 20 minutes with Dawn over the weekend. She was out there at the launch of the Vortex as well over in Italy. Unfortunately, I only got 20 minutes to share with her before I had to get on a bus to go back to Rome. But it's an interesting concept, and it certainly seems to work well.
The 3-tier system personally attracts me in the sense that I know a lot of people with low incomes. So a metal detectorist can get the bottom tier for X amount of £100, and then they can just get the updates when they can afford it. And that just makes perfect sense. And it surprises me that hasn't been done before.
I agree, but I also agree with myself. The cost of the Vortex top machine is not a lot of money for what it gives. So
Garrett have aimed to have, if anyone who's used a Garrett, they're not overcomplicated machines. They never have been. They're aimed at that simplicity of use, but giving you the performance straight away. If you go back to the Ace 250, which some people refer to as old technology, put it out against any starter machine you like, it'll compete exactly the same as it did 17 years ago when it launched. It just looks odd because it's in an older fashioned box. It's 8 inches into the ground on a 2p piece. It's got good discrimination, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do. That's why it's the best selling detector that any manufacturer has ever made. They made over 1 million of them.
Wow.
You look at things like the AT Pro. What is there to change on it? You've got ground balance, you've got your discrimination, and it's 13, 14 inches on a 2p piece. And what the Vortex is giving you now is a machine that's going to be above that and a faster recovery with the ability to upgrade as and when you want to. If you're never going to go to the beach, well, you don't need to go to VX5 or 7 or 9. If you want to go onto the wet part of the beach, then you need a VX7. If you want to do searching for very thin hammered coins, then you have the advantage of that thin silver mode on the VX9 and other features that come with it, as well as as other manufacturers have got multi-frequency, single frequency, which Garrett have had on the Apex since that came out.
Seb, is somebody sorting metallic finds or putting your tea out there?
Oh no, it was
that was the youngest getting his supper out the microwave.
Supper?
Do you know, I mean, personally, I'm no technological genius. We all know that. I've got to say that the blue and black, I love it. I think it's I got the bag of that. Again,
online, people say, I hate the blue. It
really
looks cheap and tacky. It's just like the Chinese machines. When Garrett bought out the Ace, everyone hated the green of Garrett. So they changed the Ace range and brought out the yellow. And once you get about 75 feet away from the yellow, from a person with an Ace, you hardly even notice it. You go to a rally, you'll see the odd one or two, but then you look around, you'll see there's maybe a few others further away. With the blue, with the black, when you're about 50 feet away, you see black, you don't see blue.
I think this goes back to...
You'll be surprised how easy that blends in.
I've never been one for what a machine, the Vanquish, for example, is a bit clunky, right? It doesn't look the nicest machine. It's a modern Ace 250i in the looks. It's got a big control box. Cracking machine. Really, really good machine. And I was only talking to Julian Evan Hart about this yesterday, and we think the Vortex will be the new Ace 250. We genuinely think it will become very, very popular in the hobby. And I hope for Garrett it does. But it's one of those things. If you want to go metal detecting in a Lacoste t-shirt and Armani trainers, fine. But, at the end of the day, it's a metal detector. And if it works and does the job, that's what it's all about. And I know the Ace 250, not my personal machine. I had one years ago, but I think they are still cracking machines. I was watching a news article the other day at Glastonbury, I think. Had a Garrett Ace 250i. Probably bought it off you, Marcus. They had a Garrett Ace 250i to find the stumps for the banners and things that go up. It's still being used today. I mean, that bloody machine's been out for years, but they work. They do work.
Toby Kaywood, Adrian, he's saying he's a sucker for a new gadget. I might have to have one. And apparently, he's just got a new rampant rabbit, something like that.
Oh, that's Tony Kaywood.
Yeah.
But I think the Vortex, Garrett,
they've gone for simplicity and performance.
Yeah. And when the Apex came out, the biggest thing I loved about that was the display and the navigation. It is so simple, so simple, and it's a huge screen. So I loved that because I didn't need my glasses to look at it. I could see it straight in the field. But I think it'll be very interesting where it lands because the price point is quite key. It's not a lot. It's hundreds of pounds, but it's not lots and lots of money. And especially if you bought it on finance or whatever, it's quite a good value machine. The blue,
you won't see.
To be honest,
as I said, once you get about 50 feet, 60 feet away, the blue disappears and it becomes a black machine.
Yeah, but if it was pink or purple, I might have an issue. But blue, no, it don't really bother me. At the end of the day, you're not looking at pictures of yourself. You're looking at the screen. So, and that's not blue. So
the SAS used pink vehicles in the desert because pink disappeared. So there are colours that do that, and the blue with the black, you will find it will disappear.
Yeah. But I quite like the blue. That's quite deep.
Tony Haywood's apparently sent me a picture of his rampant rabbit.
He said he wasn't rampant.
Actually, talking of Apex, my daughter's a paramedic, and
What's
she was
the
on shift
talc for?
Sorry?
I'm looking at this picture. I'm only wondering what the talc's for.
Daughter's a paramedic, and she was on shift tonight with someone else. And he shut his boot of his car, and she went, "Oh, is that a metal detector?" And he went, "Yeah." And he opened the boot, and she detects like me, not as much as me. And he had a Garrett Apex, new to detecting, bought it for his wife and kids, and they all use it. And he's had some amazing finds. He might be watching tonight, actually. His name's Dan. I think it's Dan or Ben. But yeah, the Apex. We've got the Vortex and the Apex. So do you think Garrett will upgrade the Apex now after the Vortex, or or upgrade the software? Because that's still there, isn't it?
No, I don't. The Apex, in the same way that if you take XP and the Oryx is a finished item. Okay, I don't see the Oryx being updated. People have talked about, I would love it to have this, that, and the other. Yeah, it's called a Deus. So that's what it's meant to be. It's a finished item. The Apex, if they could go back and do it all over again, it would have been waterproof. But I don't think that they will do anything with that. The Apex in itself is a great little machine. It's one of the few machines I've kept at home for when I go beach detecting, because I found an excellent beach detector, always have done. From the first day I used it when I had the sample. Surprised me how quiet it was. But no, I think that's a finished item. I don't see them revisiting that at all.
Mm-hmm. Going back to Deus, there's some updates from XP, isn't there?
Yes, I've confused myself here, so I'm going to have to ask the question. You've just mentioned about the Oryx, and it's not going to get any better than it is.
Mm-hmm.
I must be wrong in how I've read it, that you can upgrade that and a Deus to become a Deus 2.
No, okay. So that's nothing to do with the Oryx remote. Okay, right. An Oryx is an Oryx. End of. So what you can do, if you think about the components that you have in the Deus machine, and it's a very modular machine with its similar stems, etc., and coils. So if you want to go from an Oryx or a Deus to a Deus 2, okay, then you can go to an MX6 Master. So you're basically buying the coil, the lower stem, and you're buying the WS6 Master headphones. You now have a Deus 2. You utilize everything else that you have off your existing metal detector. So your top, middle stem assembly, you've already got. You can just switch and match, as a lot of people already do. Even between a Deus and a Deus 2. Now they've given you the facility to just buy that one package, which contains everything that would have been in a WS6 Master, apart from the middle and top stem, at a very competitive price.
How much is that, Marcus?
£519.
Yeah.
And the minute it comes with the 9 and the 11-inch coil to choose from. But yeah, it's exactly what Mark said. It's basically a W6 Master without the middle stem, because you reuse that from your existing Oryx or Deus one.
Now the Deus 2, I know Adrian, he's been using that a lot and swears by one of his machines. He swears by, but obviously I go out with Shane, Staffordshire Searcher, and Steve Real, who have both got the Deus 2, and Shane just blows me away. I mean, I could be in a field with him, and I'm just getting knocked out the park. He can have 50 decent finds to my 4 all day long. He's down on his knees all day long, and he's been finding ring after hammered coin after hammered coin. Fair play to him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a weekend that goes by where Shane doesn't send me a picture of at least like a handful of hammers or something he's found, or a gold ring, or he's found something different.
Never known anyone to find so much gold as he.
I know, he absolutely smashes it with a master. To be fair,
I'll be with him tomorrow because he's doing the brakes on my van, so I'll be sure to hit him with a spade for you. or not.
To be fair, though, it's he really does do well with it. I mean, I think he's had it for about a year now. I think.
Yeah.
And he's got the.
And he came straight out of the box, literally straight out of the box, running with it. And the finds were there. The finds were there. Because he was sending us pictures every time he was going out. Going, I found this lot. I found this.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you're getting the same, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I was getting more. Don't forget, I was there for most of them.
You're there in the background going.
I think
lying on the tree.
Yeah,
I think
eating cake.
The thing with XP, their background is audio. It is audio. That's they are.
I mean, Alan, his job when he created sound studios. That's his job. That's where his electronics background comes from. His hobby was metal detecting, and he wanted to improve the ability to find very, very thin hammered silver French coins. The obol, it's called basically. They're called fish scales because they're so thin. You sneeze, blow, they've gone, and nobody was finding them. And that's where he started making machines at home. Started with the Adventis, a metal box Adventis, which I've never seen one. It started from there.
I mean, the graphic equalizer on the Deus 2 is lovely. You can have, because we all, depending on your age, like Seb and you, Marcus, our hearing is different. So
Correct.
Different tones.
The first time I was able to demonstrate this was, I think, at Rodney Cook Rally when it had just come out, and there were a number of people in front of me, about 4 or 5 of a group, and I went through the Deus 2 with adjusting the tones first of all to make a greater differential, so you get a lower tone and a higher tone, and everyone go, oh yeah, that's a lot better. I get that. And then one would go, no, it doesn't seem that much different. Okay, so we've got hearing here is coming into it. I said, but if you played with the equalizer, what's the equalizer? Okay, right. Okay, so I'll go and play with the equalizer, and I gave it to the first guy who he'd noticed an improvement with the tones before, and he put the headphones on. I waved the same coin I'd been using across everything, and I saw him go,
what?
That's so much better. Take those off, give it to the next guy, and the next guy goes, yeah, I can see a bit of a difference. The next guy goes, no difference there at all. And it is that personal, and it makes such a difference to people. So when going through those 5 people, 2 of them went, wow, amazing. 2 went, and 1 went, no, there's no difference in there at all. It's then I say to people, play with the tones, play with the picture of the tones. Then when you think you've got it all nice and you've got your program that's wonderful, go and visit the graphic equalizer and tweak it to you, and it will make all the difference to you. It won't make a difference to the next person. It might, but it most likely won't. Because as you say, his hearing is different to yours, to mine, and everybody else's.
It's a very unique thing on the Deus.
Yeah.
I love, and it's made a difference for me. I mean, I could have paid for the machine 10 times over with the finds I've found. It's done very, very well for me. Although I did have a battery problem the other day, Marcus. I was going to talk to you about this. Sorry, everyone. Charged it up, charged it up all night.
Yep.
Both, and it was all connected. The coil, headphones, everything it was all connected. Saw it charging. Went out. Coil died within 3 hours. I thought, here we go. This machine's what? How 2 years old? Not even that. I don't know.
Have you charged it since? And did it charge perfectly and last perfectly thereafter?
Yes.
Right.
So it must have been a little blip. It must have just said tonight I'm not doing it. Bit like
it's you, Adrian. You're the problem.
Okay, we've come across it, and I've done it myself. You put the coil on charge. You see the charging light come on. Okay, charging. You go to bed. In the morning, you get up. You do whatever you got to do. Oh God, I haven't got this. I haven't got that. Okay, I'll go and get the coil. You go to the coil. The charging light is off. Your brain goes, charging light's off. It's a finished charging. You think it's in the cycle of 3 seconds on, 3 seconds off. So you grab your coil, you get in the car, and you go. 3 hours later, it's dead. What happened in the middle of the night? And I'm assuming you kind of charge your coil flat on a surface.
Yeah.
I always charge my coil up at an angle for the simple reason that charging clip sits a little bit proud below the coil.
Yeah.
And if you have it on a flat surface and something comes along, a cat, a book falls off or whatever, and it goes dunk and it pops up. But it's automatic when you see that, so it doesn't get a full charge. So when you see the coil, when you're grabbing it to go detecting, don't just grab it. Always look at it and go 3 seconds off, 3 seconds on. Okay, it's finished charging. But we don't. We're in a rush. We see the lights off. We assume it's finished charging. We grab the coil and go. I've done it myself.
Tell you what, mate, your 3 seconds is just like my hour.
No, Marcus, you've just nailed it, because my detector gets charged next to my dog basket, and the dog's obviously got up in the night, tried to go into the graphic equalizer on the DS2 and change the settings, and trod on the coil and lifted it. So yeah, but
which is why my first question was, when you charged it again, was it fine? As soon as you said yes,
yeah, of course it was. Yeah, of course it was.
I know what's happening.
I need to.
Yeah, always don't charge your coil at that angle. You can leave it charging up at that angle, and you can see the light better for a start.
Yeah, brilliant. Dave, it's my wall.
Let me scroll up a bit. I've got one or two questions that have popped up earlier.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the chat.
The Marcus Metal Detector asks, and this was going back to when we were talking about the new Garrett. Is there any benefit in using the multi-salt mode on highly mineralized fields?
Yeah, I saw that come up. Don't know is the answer, because I haven't been able to try one in that environment. I wouldn't have thought the multi-salt would be beneficial in that. It's designed specifically for salt. It has a separate multi-frequency mode. You do have the facility to ground balance. And if you're in mineralized ground, I would be going to the ground balance first of all to see what's happening there. Yes, you can, of course, try it in multi-salt and see what it performs, but I wouldn't expect it would.
Question for Seb and Marcus. Either yes or no, ignoring the conditions, ignoring the detector, ground balance, yes or no?
No. Not unless your metal detector is telling you to ground balance.
It was a yes or no. It'll see
the answer is no. If you take a DES, it tells you whether you need to ground balance or not. Because if it's giving you those two on the DES, if it's giving you the two dashes at the top above the 90, which is the preset ground, you don't need to do anything because there's no mineralization.
If you totally trust the technology that's doing the AI on your ground. I just asked that question. That's all.
If there's no mineralization coming up on the right-hand bar on the DES, on the original DES, the two top ones won't show anything, and therefore you shouldn't be playing with the ground balance. As long as if it's showing up there, then move to that ground balance, especially if it's more than 5 away from 90.
I wasn't talking about a DES, I was talking about all detectors.
No,
Okay. No, fine. That's fine. That's a spin the coil question. That is, Dave.
Do modified settings store after you turn the machine on and off?
Oh yeah, good question.
Sorry, say again.
Do modified settings store after you turn on and off on the Vortex?
There is one custom program. Just like the Apex, there's one custom program that you can store your settings into, but the presets will be the presets.
So when you turn the machine off, it will revert back to basically the standard programs again.
Same as an Apex, same as a AT Pro.
Adrian, Rob Brandon wasn't very happy that you didn't correct Marcus by saying it's not a stem, it's a shaft.
Yeah.
Can't see anything else at the moment. Nothing else. So, Deus, I mean, hey, talking about machines that have got longevity, that the Deus one, you know, it's still doing what it was doing the day it came out.
14 years. 14
years ago.
Yeah.
I had to ask Sed's expertise a couple of weeks ago, didn't I? I was offered a swap for the Equinox, and I was like, I need the money, but someone's offered me a Deus, and I took the money in the end.
Yeah, I think if I remember it correctly, I don't think it had a warranty or something as well. So it was the odds were stacked in your favour, you know, in terms of word in your favour. Sorry about getting a machine. So probably take the money, and you know you can always choose to get a Deus one down the line anyway. So yeah, I think it's probably the wiser decision at the time anyway.
It was for the benefit of my marriage, I think.
There you go. I helped you there then as well. So.
No, I think Deus are XP are very good at there. I think they've got an award, haven't they, for environmental or sort of.
Alan is very high into the environment. They have it's a long life award they have in France, it's called, and he's one of the early recipients of that. The factory is so efficient you wouldn't believe. He actually owns a solar heating company as well, which he developed, which is probably bigger as factory space than XP. So the staff are rewarded if they cycle or have electric vehicle when they come to work. They're rewarded in their pay packet. Alan himself, he cycles to work from time to time.
He's got an old car as well, isn't he?
He'd be taking
you'd think he'd be driving around in something a lot newer and a lot bigger and a lot posher. No, that's not him.
It's an old Peugeot, isn't it? I heard.
Chrissy Detect says that she wants to change from a Knox 800 to a Deus 2, but she's scared of missing out of what she might find while she's getting used to it.
Every machine takes a little bit of an element of getting used to. It doesn't matter. You change from one machine to another. And even though you've been using that machine for a number of years, it's not like riding a bike where you just get back on and you remember exactly what to do. Sometimes it takes a little while to get back into the groove with it and remember maybe the little foreballs with it or how it works in a particular way. But most machines these days are like cars. It's got four wheels, four seats, steering wheel, a boot, and does 70 miles an hour. The basics are already there. If you're going to walk over it, you're going to find it because most things are in the first 7 to 8 inches anyway. Yes, we're after the stuff particularly that might be a little bit further, a little bit harder to find. And, you know, that's where the modern metal detectors do excel, especially what we've had in the past.
Even the general mode on the Deus 2 is cracking. It really, if you change the discrimination, it is still a very good mode, and you'll find stuff.
I turn to it quite a lot when I'm out detecting. When we don't run rallies ourselves, but we do go out detecting. We go out to clubs independently, sometimes together. When was the last time you were out? You were out
2-3 weeks ago, maybe.
2-3 weeks ago. For me, it's about 4 weeks ago. Somewhere else, not to sell metal detectors, to go metal detecting, to go and have a play, go and talk to people, go and see what other people think about products away from the shop. At the end of the day, we can't be experts in every single machine. We have to take the information from our customers, glean what is right, what is wrong. When you see somebody with a Goldmax power, turn it on at a rally and starts lifting it up and down as if he's doing a ground balance and waiting for the second beep, and you think, okay, why has he done that? And you go over and talk to him and he said, oh, I'm just setting the ground balance. Well, it's a rotary control you move. It's nothing to do with that. So who told him that? Where has he learned that? And educate him. But there are things that we learn every day from our customers about little bits of machine, because we can't be out there using it a machine to the extent that everybody knows their individual machines. And it's the years of experience of grabbing this, learning that, pulling that together that we pass on to other people.
And when you do go out and about, people like Seb actually can say, I've seen Dave Sadler metal detect.
I have, and I think it was decent of day until it started pouring down.
And I still held out and I stayed.
I ended up getting stuck on the field then. I did. It weren't great. I had four blokes helping us push the van off. It weren't a great end to the day, but yeah, no, that was what, about a month and a half ago. I think it was.
No, that was Easter.
Was it Easter?
Easter weekend, yeah. Anyway, it's time for no prizes tonight, ladies and gentlemen. No prizes tonight. No prizes tonight. Don't forget the ringtone is available.
I've messed it up.
We can offer a little prize if you want.
Oh,
if that's something, we could do a little gift card if you like.
Have we lost Dave?
I think Dave's.
I can't see him at the moment. Is he like frozen?
Yeah. He's been cryogenically froze.
Right, it's kindly sponsored by these people, but not tonight. Tonight it's sponsored by Regtons Metal Detectors. Go there, and if you haven't, you should. And more importantly, go to the shop. If you're thinking of buying a metal detector, or you've got one, or you're upgrading, my number one tip, if you join the hobby of metal detecting, or you've got a metal detector you bought online, is go down to a distributor. Get in the shop, talk to them, hold the machine, look at it, because without that, it's crazy. I personally think that. I think you should go.
Exactly what we have a shop, so they can come and field the detector, and if it's the right one for them, the weight, etc. Even with spades as well, it's massively important. We do have a shop that we can show detectors for that exact reason, because we also understand that it's a lot of money for any detector. So you want to make sure that you get the right one, and you don't have buyer's remorse or buyer's regret straight away. We go, I've just spent X amount of money on a machine. I'm not sure it's for me. I'm waiting for it to turn up. Just to mention about the wall, we'll put a £50 gift card up for the winner, and we'll sort that out. We'll sort that out afterwards with the Big Detecting Show, and we'll get it all sorted.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Regtons. Dave, you know what it is. I told you.
Yes, I do know. And I've got right. I'm going to start. Mia, number 21. Sorry, I've also upgraded my internet and I'm still bombing out, so I apologise. James Roberts, next week's guest, coming back for some big news. Number 19.
No. 19. What?
And for those of you who don't know, that's to do with Digathon, which I've spoke to Seb about. Number 10.
Watch this space.
It's not a Roman pencil. It's not a 10 peg. It's not a strap end. It's not a stylus. Number 18. It's not a hairpin. It's not a buckle.
Christ, Nick
Number
Berry.
12.
I bet he's in there.
It's not a brooch. It's not scales. Better than last week, Adrian.
Yep.
It's not an iron nail. Number 5. It's not a purse bar. It's not a spoon. It's not a horse brace. It's not an axe. Number 13. It's not a sword hanger. It's not a toggle. It's not a votive axe. It's not an axe head or an axe head or even a Viking axe or a toggle.
There's more to the right.
It's not a spear.
What's that?
It's not a votive axe. Number 14.
Good call with that person. Well,
it's not a buckle. Number 22. It's not a horse tool. Number 15. It's not a brooch, not a... Hold on a minute. Brooch pin or a bridle fitting or a horse harness or a hammer or a woad grinder or a cup handle or a horse tack or a sword hanger. Number 13 or a ploughshare.
13?
Sorry,
I've
23.
done
23.
50
it's
quid.
Not a dais. It's not a latch. It's not a spoon. It's not a cape clasp or a Brown's hairpin or a Roman rivet or a pot mend or a shoe stud or a cedar. Number 24.
I went for the rivet.
Golden.
It's not a pot mend, and I'm just going to have to check me. It's not a drawer handle or a cufflink or a shoehorn or a purse bar. I know what it is again. Number 7. Or a tea set, or a finger cleaner, or a pendant, or a stein lid. Number 4, or a rusty rivet.
Maybe the lower numbers might help.
Number 3. It's not a clothes hook or a midget's ice skate. It's not a tool, or a surgical tool, or a boot stud. Number 2. It's not a shoe haft, which is like shaft with a hoe in the middle. It's not a shoemaker thingy. It's a thing. Number 1. Door clasp. Adrian, just do the numbers yourself now. It's not a roofing hammer. It's not a seal or a Celtic hook clasp or a hairpin or a purse bar or iron or a leather mount. Or a saw handle, not a clothes hook.
Come on, 50 quid.
Or
it doesn't look. It's related to
or a
horse.
fishing hook.
It's related to a horse.
Or a medieval mount.
It's medieval.
Or it's not for fuck's sake. No, a bow and fantail. It's not a nipple stud. It's not a belt mount or a pin. Or a bridle hook or a hanger. It's not a how big is it? It's not a clothes hook.
50 quid here from Regtons voucher.
It's not a horse mount. It's not a horse bit.
It's horse related.
It's not a leather pin holder. It's not a door knocker. It's not a stirrup. Is it a stirrup, Adrian?
Yes.
Right. So the first stirrup up was Thomas. Just before Dave Moore, it was Thomas.
It's a spur. So I'd say stirrup spur. We'll take that because otherwise it'll be all night. It's a complete copper alloy spur fitting of post-medieval 1500, 1700. The object is hooked in fitting from the spur. And this is kindly from the Portable Antiquities scheme. So well done.
Thanks,
to...
Adrian.
Was that Thomas?
Interesting, that.
No,
Thomas. Yeah. Thomas at the bottom.
Yeah, so...
Thomas, can you get in touch with us via... Adrian at the Big Detecting, Dave at the Big Detecting Show or Adrian at the Big Detecting Show, please.
Or just go to bigdetectingshow.com, contact us, put your details in there. And
I just do the difficult things.
Yeah, full email address. Just go to bigdetectingshow.com, contact us. And a big thank you to Regtons for donating.
Yes, thank you very much.
And well done to the winner. That was a difficult one.
Yeah, it was.
Not only was it difficult, it's the first time that we've won all the way through, isn't it, Adrian?
I think it is.
That's
actually
the first time.
Yes, it is.
Do you know why? Do you know why? Philip Wills has gone for sushi.
He has. Philip Wills has gone for sushi, and I think Nick Berry's making like a seagull out of polystyrene or
No, it's not a seagull. It's not a seagull. It's
Gary Cook.
Yeah,
but
making a
talking to
Gary Cook.
But we've only got 5 minutes left of the show. Talking to Gary Cook, this weekend, the Rodney Cook Memorial No Frills Weekender. Tickets go live Saturday, 10 o'clock in the morning at rodneycookmemorial.co.uk website. Not Facebook, it's rodneycookmemorial.co.uk website. So get your browser up, sit on the homepage, and 10 o'clock in the morning, tickets will become available for the No Frills Weekender. £45. Great weekend, great land, as usual, typical Rodney Cook, which brings me on to...
I've actually just had to message somebody because he told me verbally on the phone something the other day and I forgot. So I've had to message him to find out what it was.
Regton's bit, the normal
Thomas said, thank you, but please give it to charity, lads.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries. We'll do that tomorrow. Is there any charity you had in mind, Thomas?
Thomas, any charity? Or Rodney Cook even?
Top man, Thomas.
Yeah,
top
well,
man.
Brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
Or
Thank
Big
you very
Detecting
much.
Show, you know, streaming fund.
Dave's Cake Fund.
That's not enough. That was it. So, going back to last week, I do apologise. Lockdown Competitions ran a prize draw for the Rodney Cook, where all the funds went from the Rodney Cook. Now, the winner was actually James Roberts from the Ministry Detect, who's going to come on next week. He'll be on next week and he'll have something to say about that. But well done to Lockdown Competitions, and obviously everybody who donated to it. Graham Dempsey put his bit in, obviously. All the monies, me and Adrian even bought tickets. We didn't want to win. It was just a way of getting some money over to the Rodney Cook. They raised a fantastic £1,719. So well done to Lockdown Competitions for that. So already RCM are getting monies in from people all over the place. So brilliant.
Perfect. Well done. Brilliant. Well done. And well done, Lockdown Competitions. Really good of you to do that.
Certainly
Excellent.
is. I'm glad I remembered that last minute. Seb, did you say anything to me on the phone this week that I forgot because it's been one of them weeks?
No, I think it was more. I think it was more that my missus was
It's just a chicken
so
thing, wasn't it? It was a chicken thing, and me saying how delightfully beautiful you were, and you were like, "I don't think you should say that while in front of her."
I did start blushing. Sorry, and then she started to think what's going on. So I quickly had to end the phone call just in case.
So it wasn't about the chicken, really.
No, it wasn't.
Thomas, who won tonight's show, if you can comment who you want to donate the money to, and if we don't hear from you, I think we agreed we donate it to Rodney Cook because
Absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Now, just before you go, obviously it's coming up to rally season in the very near future. I know you're always at most of the events in the UK. What events are you at this year, Regtons?
Okay.
In order.
Right. Starting with the week before Rodney Cook, we're at the Medway Rally.
Which is August bank holiday.
Then we go into the following weekend, Rodney Cook. Immediately after that, we split up. So we're at Detectival. I'll be at Detectival. Seb will be at Just Detect, the old Veterans Rally up north. After that, we are...
You are going to Lothian.
I'm going to Lothian Rally at the end of September.
Mania.
Yeah.
That's the one, yeah.
So, have we missed one out? We missed one out, haven't we?
Huh? That's it.
4, 5. Yeah, that's it, 5. Yeah.
Medway, RCM.
But this year we only get to work 31 days in a row rather than 34 days in a row that we did last year.
It's like a holiday.
It's rally season is hard work. It's non-stop because it literally is 1 week.
We wouldn't change it though, would
No.
we? We wouldn't change it.
No, I can remember Nigel and my brother
it's
doing.
enjoyable.
I remember Nigel and I doing rallies, and we did 7 weekends in a row once. and we swore we would never do it again.
Is that when you were with your first wives?
No, I wasn't even working for Regton then. I was working in the building industry. I used to finish on a Friday, drive to Birmingham, help Nigel load up the van, then drive to wherever we were, whether it was Deal or Camperdown Park in Dundee, and then set up, work the weekend, go Sunday, break it all down, drive back to Birmingham, put it all back in his shop, and then I'd go back to Nottingham where I was living and go to work on Monday.
Yeah, exactly.
2 weekends is bad enough for me.
It's fun. I've always enjoyed rallies, and if you ever see me at a rally, I will still be around 11, 12 o'clock at night out talking to people. We don't just hide away and disappear or go off site. We stay on site. We're talking to people, listening to their stories. They're listening to our terrible stories.
You at Detectable, Marcus, you sorted out my shaft, didn't you, for me?
Was it a stem or a shaft?
Yeah, I had a problem with my shaft. It kept falling back. And you
Whatever
tightened it up for me.
On the 10.
You did. My DS2, and it's very worn, and you kindly replaced the clamp on there. So and screen protectors, all those sort of little things we forget about. It's like mobile phones, chargers, screen protectors, shaft. Let's go to Regtons and they'll sort you out. Definitely. And scan that QR code.
I'm not being biased, and Adrian knows this because I've said it to him. One of my favourite days in the metal detecting hobby, or moments of metal detecting hobby, was at Detectable about 3 years ago when I turned up early in the morning and me and Marcus just sat there chatting for about 2 hours before anybody else even appeared in the field, didn't we?
Yeah.
Very much enjoyed that.
Nice.
When we turn up at a rally, we turn up with not just the shop, not just with machines to sell. We can, if it's a XP or a Garrett machine, we can probably rebuild it there because we carry all the spare parts with us as much as we can. Very little we can't do at the rallies.
No, that's true. So visit regtons.com or scan the QR code here. So if you're listening on the podcast, regtons.com, scan the QR code. That'll take you to their website.
Don't scan the QR code if you're listening on the podcast, though.
No, but thank you very much, because it's really good for the show to have the distributor on talking, especially Regtons, who've got a real history in the metal detecting community, which those who are joining or new into it don't know about it. So you've been there for years and you know what you're talking about. So thank you for coming on the show. Really good.
And also thank you for offering the prize tonight and obviously making the donation on their behalf as well. And obviously everything else that you do for us as well. We can't help but offer appreciation for that, obviously.
Yeah, no, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Right, everybody, without further ado, I'm going to bed. No, I'm not. I've got to pick my daughter up from work, or I could go to bed. And
I'm going to enjoy my wedding anniversary.
Yes, Adrian, go and have a glass of wine.
Adrian, happy anniversary. Go and enjoy it.
Watch it.
We will be back at the same time, same place next week with some interesting news regarding Digathon, which is a new event that will be happening next year. So we'll be joined by James Roberts from the Ministry Detect and Oliver Gowers from Dig Our Wear. So pop on next week because it may be a prize. We just don't know. And there may be some other news regarding an RCM ticket as well. But we will see next week. Marcus, Sebastian, it's been an absolute pleasure. He loves it when I call him Sebastian. Loves it.
Yeah, I love being called my full name.
Adrian, have a good week. Hope you all out have lots of nice finds. Have a good week, everybody. Stay safe. Where's the thing? There it is. Good night.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.